Can you hear me? Yes, yes, I'm good.
Yes, I can hear you well.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Rohit.
Great. All right.
We are on live now.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
All right. So, Suresh, sir, welcome to our session today. So we conduct the live YouTube online sessions of about 15 to 20 minutes every week at 8:30 p.m. on Saturday, right? So
Yeah.
for our students and for the people who are interested in finance as a field. So today, given your background and your expertise, I would like to talk to you about the financial reporting area, right? And what are the latest things in that. But before that, I'll request you to please introduce yourself and what you do in your current role. Maybe
Sure.
in about 1 to 2 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And first of all, thanks, Shailendra sir, for giving this opportunity. This is first time for me going YouTube live, so looking forward to it. So just to introduce myself, I'm Suresh Abhyankar. I'm a chartered accountant by profession. So I completed my CA in 2007, and since then I'm working with multiple companies in different capacities. So I started my career with Bajaj Auto in their manufacturing automotive division, handling like consultation of account, financial reporting, stock exchange reporting, portfolio. I spent around 4 years there. So it was enriching experience in terms of really getting to know hands-on what it takes for a listed company to do financial reporting. And from there, I moved to a diamond trading company. It was a privately held company. So I got a different flavor in terms of how financial reporting happens for a closely held company, and let's say with the limited stakeholders involved. So I spent around 1.5 year there as a manager consolidation, working on consolidation of very complex org structure of 50 odd companies and whatnot. From there, I joined a company called Johnson Controls. Again, it's a OEM supplier, a US based listed company. Again, there also I got a very different flavor. It's all financial reporting, but then you get into a different industries and in different capacity, you actually get a different dimensions of financial reporting. There, I was basically was a controller managing couple of their entities in India. One was a joint venture, another was a technical center of the group. So again, joint venture accounting works very different than a fully owned subsidiary where like I have to report numbers to both joint venture partners. So there I spent around a couple of years. That company got took over through a merger and acquisition by another US based company. So that also involved a lot of different financial reporting aspects. After that, I joined a company called ZS Associates. It's into management consulting, again, a US based company with around $2 billion turnover. There, I was more focused on like obviously the local reporting in terms of legal entity, financial reporting, but also heavily on the internal management reporting. So, like we used to report on numbers at a practice area and different dimensions of same financial data. So that was another way of looking at financial reporting that I learned there. I spent around 6.5 years, actually, longest in that company. And currently, I'm working with a company called iCertis as a director of finance. And again, my role is kind of financial reporting for all the global subsidiaries of iCertis. So from an India subsidiary, now I'm handling subsidiaries which are not in India, but again involve a different level of financial reporting requirements for local purposes. So that's about my journey, and I wanted to bring in that financial reporting angle to my introduction so that like people can correlate when I give answers to some of your questions.
No, absolutely. Thanks a lot for that. So, when we met and we discussed few times, I thought that is, a topic that I think you have wealth
Yeah,
of knowledge, and I think, the listeners should be, benefiting from that. So, just for me to understand, where does the financial reporting fit in the entire role of a CFO, right? So, currently you are in the controllership function. So, where does it exactly fit, right? Because CFO has a lot of, things within
other
the portfolio, right? So,
responsibilities.
how does it fit within that, and what are the other things within that portfolio?
Yeah, sure. I think I would say financial reporting forms a backbone basically for be it a CFO, be it a junior accountant. I think that's the way you come to know about the financial position of the company. That's the way you communicate the numbers to the stakeholders, be it your management, be it your like tax agencies or regulatory authorities, be it your vendors sometimes, be it your bankers. So I would say it's a very important role. Uh, for a CFO as well. Like having a good person doing a financial reporting is very key for any CFO. But you rightly said it's one component of a role of CFO. CFO actually, the I think the most important role for CFO is protecting the financial position of the organization, protecting the cash flow, advising the business in terms of taking right decision, be it on investments or be it on OPEX of the business. So it's an important role. It's a business partnering, I would say, rather than really a bookkeeper function that we traditionally have seen. But yeah, having said that, the importance of financial reporting cannot be undermined in any sense. And the requirement is ever growing with all the complexities and business models is being evolved. I think the importance is just getting improved.
Yeah. So, if we talk of financial reporting itself, right? So, what is the scope? I think you mentioned a few things like legal reporting, etc. What are the different silos, let's say, within financial reporting, right? So, what are those types of reporting that you have seen?
Yeah. So I would say I will largely break it up into two. One is the external reporting and other is the internal reporting. So in a common parlance, we talk about financial reporting in a sense of external reporting. Basically, we report our balance sheet, profit and loss account, our income, cash flow statements, and all the notes to accounts and other disclosures that we make along with the financial statement. So that is one category of financial reporting, which is the most important, and multiple stakeholders view that information with multiple purposes, I would say. The other category I will define as internal management reporting, or in a common parlance, we call it as a MIS. Any communication in terms of financial data, I will call it as a financial reporting. So it need not be really in a balance sheet or a P&L form, frankly. If I'm doing, let's say, a product level profitability, it's also financial reporting for internal purposes. So yeah, largely into those two. But as I said, the people viewing that information do it for different purposes. If I'm doing something for a banker, maybe the purpose is very different and the format may look different versus, let's say, a stock exchange reporting where there is a prescribed format and we have to just follow the same standards. So that's how I will maybe elaborate that.
Correct. So we broadly classify it into external and internal reporting. I believe the legal and other stuff will broadly fall into external, the regulatory compliance, etc. And then the business profitability, product. So whatever sort of decision making would fall mainly within MIS, right? So
yeah,
based on which they take the decision. Okay, fantastic. Right. And then now having worked on this area for over 10 years, right? So you've seen multiple industries, multiple types of companies, correct? As you said, Johnson's was a different format, and Bajaj was a different, so Indian group entirely versus global, and so on and so forth. So what are the important trends that you observe in this field, right? What is changing? I mean, one is of course the role and the company and the context, but what's really changing in this field, or what last 10 years or so, and what do you see changing in next maybe 10 years or so?
I just call it as an evolution. I think the way finance is evolving, and I will categorize that into maybe three aspects. One is the people aspect of things, what kind of skill sets are required to run finance department, maybe then and now. One is the process side of things, where like how processes have evolved, like because of the business model changing, the way customers, vendors, and like all of us are connected. It has really evolved a lot. Just example is, let's say, how we make payment. Now with a barcode and those Google Pays and all, the payment is very different now versus maybe 15 years back when I started my career. A typical way of making payment to vendor was, let's say, check or demand draft. We moved from demand draft to, let's say, account transfer, RTGS, NEFTs, whatnot. International transfer also got automated. Now we are at a stage where it's just required a click of a button to really make a payment. So maybe I will just categorize that as a process changes that have happened. And other is, and most important, is technology. The way technology has evolved in finance domain across domains, but in particularly finance. Just to give an example, the way ERPs have evolved. When I joined Bajaj Auto, some of my seniors used to tell me that they used to take a 1 month to really do a trial balance tallying. Forget about preparation of financials. That's the step which is beyond that. Just tallying a trial balance used to take them a month's time, because they used to have different plants, regional offices and whatnot, get all data together in their ADP, getting the debit credits right used to take a whole lot of time. So from a basic usage of technology to an advanced usage of technology. And in terms of trend in technology, we all are aware, like ERP is just a kind of, now everybody knows what is ERP, but beyond ERP also how we are using a lot of new skills in like big data, AI, blockchain, all those things are important. Obviously, it is not important to each and every business because it depends on like complexity, volume, and the maturity of your business. But if I talk about a trend as such, yes, these all technological trends are impacting finance in big way.
All right. So you struck a chord when you said, that you used to take 1 month to, I think, tally the trial balance, etc. I have been through that, in the 1980s. So we used to sit and, tally the trial balance for sort of, weeks together, right? So, but we have moved on, and today that's something which is just behind us, and we have more challenges to look at. So see, in Skill Edge, we have a course which is, called a Finance Analyst Edge program, and which prepares the students for multiple roles. One of them is the internal, which is typically corporate role as a finance analyst, right?
Yeah.
So maybe in a food tech company, hospitality, and these kind of industries. And then, of course, investment analyst and other roles, which are typically in banks and financial institutions.
Yeah.
So how is the career in this field, right? Per se, the career as a, somebody who's involved in financial reporting, right? It's a very big thing, because I even see these opportunities, people working and getting really very good pay packages and doing a good job. I had seen one of my friends from IIM Bangalore managing about, I think, some 200 people who are doing only financial reporting for one of the, I think, verticals, and one of the, I think Asia Pac or something
region,
like that, for a big investment bank, right? So some 200 people team. So how is it as a career, and what does somebody need to make a good career in this field? What are the kind of skills one needs? How one can build that?
Right. Yeah, I think I touched upon that as a part of my like trends, that like skill and the people quotient of all these things is very important. I think the traditional understanding about financial reporting obviously is required. The baseline is required always, but I think the getting the skill sets which are relevant to what you want to do in career is very important. So you mentioned about like a shared service setup where there is a team of 200 accountants and financial analysts who are working on the reporting day in, day out on different numbers and for different regions and all those things. So I would say skill set wise, the technical skills like knowing about accounting standard, knowing about the requirements, ever changing requirement, regulatory requirements of our reporting for given business is important. But more than that, really, financial reporting is not bookkeeping. I think we have to change the mindset that we are not just reporting the numbers which are in your accounting system. We have to actually give some information which is relevant to the stakeholders. Now, if it is an external reporting, you need to be accurate, you need to be concise, you need to back each number with a very logical data sets and schedules. That's about external, but internal, it's required for a decision making. So just reporting number doesn't make any difference to the decision maker. That should be backed by a lot of logical and forward looking information. So if you are looking some trend in terms of some expenses or some capex, just reporting that number is not good enough. Like what is expected out of it, how this information is relevant for your decision making is very important. So I would say, and I've seen that practice where we used to call it as a controllership function or a reporting team. Now that has evolved into not only reporting, but we call it reporting and analytics. Like we don't now call it reporting team. A lot of companies have started calling it analytics because that's the expectation from that team, that you just don't report number, but you give some value added information to us. So that's how I would say. And again, in the context of different businesses like shared service setup, I think requirement is that you are process oriented, you are very methodical, you are structured in terms of how you do your work, day-to-day work is important. In a maybe smaller setup, your creativity, your like resourcefulness is important, like how you are maybe adapting to different requirements, giving creative solutions and responses to your management and external stakeholders is very important.
So thanks a lot, sir, for giving all this information to us. With your background and experience, I think we can at least run it for maybe an hour or two more. But having put ourselves where we restrict typically these sessions, live sessions, to 15 to 20 minutes, I would like to end the session today. But I think we'll definitely catch up with you for an extended session sometime in near future when you have your time available
Yeah, yeah.
for us. So thanks much, and all the best, and thanks for giving these kind of insights for the students of Skillage. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, and thanks for inviting me today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
See
you.
you.
Have a good night. Bye.
Good night. Bye. Thank you.